Liam and I spent 4 days in Krakow, and we had a lot of things that we wanted to achieve, like try the local cuisine, try traditional dancing, and obviously explore the beautiful city. So we've had a great time, and here's how it went. We spent our first morning in Krakow's main market square. This medieval square dates back to the 13th century and is known as the biggest square in medieval Europe. The square is about 40,000 square foot and is filled with cafes, museums, and has some of the most magnificent architecture in the city. We then took about a 10-minute walk from the square to a place called Mr. Pancake. I had seen this on TikTok, and as it was Shrove Tuesday, we decided to try. I'd say we queued for about 40 minutes before we finally got seated. I would say it's a little bit overhyped, but is reasonable prices. We then got the hop-on, hop-off bus, which cost us £45 for the both of us, and this was a 24-hour pass, which meant we could hop on and hop off out of any of these 15 stops for the whole day. We got on the stop 1, which was a 20-minute walk from Market Square, and this was located outside the Hotel Galaxy. When you get on the bus, they give you a headset which you can listen to information about the city as you go around in 7 different languages. We started our second morning in Krakow at Magia Cafe in the Market Square. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. If you didn't know about it, I'd say you might easily miss it. It's a very quirky cafe. We sat down in the basement area and had the entire area to ourselves. It was absolutely beautiful and the coffee was brilliant too. I definitely recommend adding this to your list. Taste test.
It tastes like coffee.
That's really good. Yeah, that's really nice. We then headed back out to the market square, which is actually where the Magia Cafe was located. So when you come out, this is kind of the view that you get, which is really nice. As you can see, the market square does get a little bit busier at this time of day, and there's lots of pigeons sitting in that little bit over there, as you can see. But yeah, there's a horse and cart ride that you can go on. This isn't something that we done, but if that's something you'd like to do, then you could maybe look into it. And then on our way over to the Jewish quarter, we passed Wall Castle, which I will talk about a little bit later on in the video. We're heading over to a different part of the city to go and see the Jewish ghetto walking trail.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep, I think so.
I think it's something like that. It's basically, there's a bit where there's like chairs and stuff, and we'll kind of find out all about that, and it's an hour long, so that'll be good. But we're walking over this bridge and it's freaking me out. So yeah, but it's nice. That is nice. But yeah, I just don't like bridges and it's freaking me out.
Is that one of the rails that they sent to Germans just for on the retreat from?
Yeah, because this is the canal we did the boat trip last night.
Yeah.
I didn't film that.
And
yeah,
the bus as well came over it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, the bus came over.
Oh yeah, because we went to the other side. Yeah, so we did the boat tour yesterday. It was evening boat tour, and it was along this canal. What do you call it? Wee river. And the bridge, one of the bridges along it. There's several. I think it's that one over there. But they said that the Germans destroyed it as they were fleeing in World War II. Yeah. So, and then they rebuilt it. We then made it to the Jewish quarter to start the walking tour. Our tour guide was brilliant and she told us a lot about the ghetto. These 2 buildings were the same buildings which were there when the gate was here, which was the main gate into the ghetto. The Jewish people would be marched along this road to the train station where they would be taken to the death camps. One thing that was said was people used to drop their belongings all along this street as they struggled to carry it, and if they didn't keep up, they would then be shot. This is part of the ghetto wall, which remains in this area.
There was a wall along the street where we are walking now, so since the wall was like 3 or 4 meters high, that's why the bullets, someone was shooting only in the higher parts of this building.
This is Ghetto Heroes Square, which is where the tour finished. The chairs that you see here represent the missing people, the murdered people, The people that went to these concentration camps weren't registered and put straight into the gas chambers. Each chair represents 1,000 people, and we were told that there were 68 chairs just in this square. The tram stop, which you can see at the other end of the square, is to represent the train station in which the Jewish people were taken to and transported to the death camps. The building that you see here is the original police station where the ghetto wall connected, and this is where the border was. The wall is no longer here, but there is a line on the floor to show you where it would have been. The tour guide was shown as a picture of what the police station looked like with the ghetto wall attached. This is the pharmacy in the ghetto, most commonly known as the Eagle Pharmacy. This pharmacy was here before the Nazis made this area into the ghetto. The Polish man could have moved the pharmacy, instead he bribed the German authorities. This pharmacy became a refugee and he offered medicines, often free of charge. A number of people also escaped through the back entrance. This pharmacy is now a museum which is designed to be exactly how it would have been during the Holocaust. We finished day 2 by having a coffee in the heart of the market square. This place was cash only, so Liam had to go and lift out some money. So here he is with his 100 zloty note. We sat and watched the sunset, and that's how day 2 ended. After visiting the ghetto on day 2, we then visited Auschwitz. As you can see, this is where the train would arrive, and this would be where the selection process would begin. Women and children would be separated from men, and then they would decide who was fit to work. Those that weren't fit would be sent for a shower, or in other words, their death. This is a picture of the selection process happening, and here is the remains of the gas chambers as the Nazis destroyed what they could when this was over to get rid of the evidence. However, here is where the Jewish people would get undressed before going for what they thought was a shower. Our tour guide told us that the gas chambers even had shower heads to create this idea. Here is the barracks in which the ones who passed the selection process would be crammed in, and this is where they would stay. Most people would only last a few months because of how terrible the conditions were. They started off as brick ones, but then as more and more people were put to these camps, they decided to make them wooden, which were worse conditions. The wooden ones would be where the men would sleep, and the brick ones were where the women would sleep. And here's a little idea of what they would be sleeping in. About 6 people would be crammed into one. So there was actually 2 sections to the Auschwitz tour. The first place we went to was Auschwitz 1, which was actually an army base camp, and they made it into Auschwitz. So they basically just worked with what they had. You can see in the previous picture that was the gate, and it said "Work sets you free." And there was loads of things in this museum, from shoes to the hair that was cut off people. Just really takes you back. And then you've got this here, which was the ashes that was found. When we returned back to Krakow, we went to this cafe, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name because I reckon I would mess it up. But we'd heard about this cafe, and funnily enough, this was the day that it was back opened, which was just crazy, and it was actually our last day too. It's in the market square, and you get a really good view because it's above the market. So after this, we went home and we got changed, and we headed to a traditional Polish evening. So part of the traditional evening was to try the traditional food. So here's the menu that we got given. The drinks were complimentary, so there was beer, wine, tea, coffee. And the first course we had was sour rye soup with sausage, egg, and potatoes with rye sourdough. I actually really enjoyed this soup. There's an egg in it. And sausage. Sausage and cat. I don't know.
That's quite cool.
Bread. The next course that we had was traditional pork chop and breadcrumbs with roasted potatoes and Polish cabbage. This was also a very nice dish. All night there was a buffet and you could try traditional things like pierogies, and yeah. And the final course that we had was apple pie with ice cream, and this was absolutely delicious, but I was so full and struggled to eat it. Got the hay behind me. On our last day, we done a walking tour. With our cases, might I add. We did try and book it on our first day, but there was no availability until the last day. Suppose that would happen when you book a trip to Poland the night before you fly. Anyways, I'm glad we done it, as we've seen lots of things we wouldn't have seen if we didn't do it. Things that dated back to the 15th and 16th centuries. I still can't quite believe that this city hasn't changed since the Middle Ages and survived through World War II. We followed the royal route heading towards Wawel Castle. We also got told that a sight for many tourists is the Wawel Dragon, and if you wait long enough, you will see fire come out his mouth. You'll see in a second, there's people down at it, but we watched from the castle. It was quite magnificent. It did take a while to eventually come out. However, I was determined that we were going to see the flame come out this dragon. One of the final places we headed to was Judah Market, we went to try some traditional Polish street food. So we actually tried something that was kind of like a pizza baguette type thing. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, but I do show you in a second what it's called. There you go. We finished our trip with a ring-shaped bread, which I cannot pronounce, so I will insert it onto the screen now.
Piece of bread.
Tastes like bread. These are a popular, inexpensive snack that are especially in Krakow. And I feel like it was only right that we got it because we had seen them being sold in the blue street carts like this one here all week, and we just thought we had to get it before we left. We then just chilled out in the market square before we caught the train to the airport from Krakow. So our last minute trip to Krakow, Poland was now coming to an end. Thank you very much for watching this video. We hope that you get a chance to explore Krakow one day just as we did.